Hi everyone, I'm Utkarsh and this is the PRS McCarty SC594. So this is part 2 of my journey in PRS guitars, and probably, like I mentioned in my previous video, by my very low standards, my very best known PRS. This is a special guitar. This guitar was gifted to me by my fiance, then fiance, now wife, on my birthday. The story is, my wife used to fly for an airline, and yeah, so she was in London. She was in the UK rather, and the 594 had just come out, and the single cut version of the core had just come out, literally 2 months ago. And for me, if you recall from my previous video, I had gotten a PRS relatively recently, but you know, I had not entirely bonded with it. I loved aspects of it, like the fit and finish, how brilliant it looked, how easy it was to play, but you know, it didn't sound like a Les Paul. And you know, it didn't have the shape, of course, of a Les Paul. So when the 594 single cut came out, I was like, damn, is this guitar made for me or what? It's a PRS, it's got everything that a PRS has, everything I like about it, but it's in the Les Paul kind of shape, and it sounds like the Les Paul. It's modeled after the Holy Grail, which is the 59 Les Paul, so this has to be the guitar for me. Being in Singapore at that point in time, goodness knew when the dealer over there would get the guitar, so I had to find other means to get the guitar, and luckily my wife had a flight. The next 2 months, and it was approaching my birthday as well, so the next 2 months were frantically spent researching all the 594s in the UK. So I saw at that time there was a 594 at Anderton's, similar color, which actually, funnily enough, Rob Chapman ended up buying after I bought this guitar. So I could have well bought that guitar at that point in time, but between that guitar and this guitar, though they were a similar color, which I just love, burnt maple leaf, what finally drew me over to get this guitar, which was in GAK versus the one that was in Anderton's, was the fact that it was a single cut, which was more my style and more what I was used to, and it had an ebony fret. So my wife went over, she had to, I think, take a journey. I don't remember where exactly GAK is, but it's not close to her hotel in London by any means. It's outside, it's a different city. She went down, I phoned the folks in GAK at the time, we figured everything out. They gave us a good, guitar was not cheap, not did we get a big discount, but you know, they did a decent deal, which was fair to everyone involved. And yeah, and this guitar came back. And the first thing I did when I got this guitar, well, the first thing I did was I was in a different city. I was in Malaysia at the time, so we got the guitar in Singapore first. So I didn't have an amplifier, so I played it unplugged, and I was stunned by how loud it was. Then we took it back to Malaysia, where I was living then, and I had a Les Paul Traditional at the time, and I was like, yes, this is what everyone wants to know. How does this guitar compare with the Les Paul? And I made that video, and now that video has, I think, over 20,000 views. So again, I'm not a serious YouTuber, I just do this for fun, and I try to put information out there which people don't get necessarily, you know, which I search for sometimes and I don't get the answers to. So yeah, so I think a lot of people have seen this beautiful, beautiful guitar. Okay, so specs. So standard 594, which means mahogany body. It's got a flame maple top, brilliant flame maple top. This is a wood library, so I don't know what standard this is, but this is just out of this world. Burnt maple leaf finish, as I mentioned, ebony fretboard with flame maple neck, another spectacular part of this guitar. Ebony front veneer. Pickups are 5815 LTs, famous ones. Phase 3 tuners at the back, which are the famous modified phase 3 tuners. You can tell because there's a small little hole in them, which are not there in phase 3. And hybrid hardware, so a bit of gold, bit of nickel, and the standard 3-way switch with 2 volumes and 2 tones, such like a Les Paul. This guitar has been well used. This has been my number one for the last, since I got this guitar, which was 2.5 years ago. It's been many gigs. Because of this guitar, my bandmate ended up getting a 594 as well. His is a double cut in Cachaco. Yeah, this guitar, what can I say? It served me very, very well. What I like about this guitar, sound. Initially, and if you saw the video I did almost 2.5 years ago, I was a bit torn because the Les Paul sounded more like a Les Paul. But over the years, playing this live, I've really started liking the sound of this guitar. What I can tell you is this guitar, because of its tone and its sustain, it's very liquidy to play, which means there is plenty of vibration under your fingers all the time. So that's just amazing. It's like, you know, sometimes when you put a compressor behind, in front of your guitar, and it gives you a little more sustain. This has that without needing a compressor, which means you still get an uncompressed tone, which we love, but with all the sustain that a compressor can give you. So I love that part of it. The thing I like about it is how gig worthy this is, right? It might look beautiful or whatever, but this is 100 times more hassle free than the Les Paul. The tuning stays, this, if it falls over, you're not going to, yes, it's a beautiful looking guitar, but you're not going to get a snap headstock with this. These PRS guitars are strong, so this gives you peace of mind when you go gigging. I happily still slip it inside my gig bag, the mono battery gig bag, but I don't worry about it. I'm not tense about it. So that helps. Guitar plays well, but somehow there's been an intangible thing that's prevented me from bonding with it, even though it's my number one. And I don't know what it was. First I figured maybe it's the gloss maple neck. I'm a mahogany guy, but I don't know. I don't know whether gloss maple makes such a difference. Gloss mahogany should feel similar. It feels similar. Then I figured out it's the pattern vintage car, which is a bit asymmetrical. Yes, it's traditional, but it doesn't feel like a Gibson, which I've told a few people as well. For me, the white fat feels more like a Gibson than a Baritone vintage. White fat being a different neck for PRS. I think I've had the wrong string gauge on this for the longest time, and that didn't help somehow. So when I got this guitar, I immediately got it set up with, and I was in that phase like many guitars, so I'm going to play thicker strings. So I put 10 to 52s in there at E tuning. 10s was fine, this side is absolutely fine, but you know, I was never able to get the feel that I wanted, and I thought that because I'm a very riffy kind of a guy, I would like the 52 tuning, but as it turns out, no, I didn't like it. So I've got it to 10 to 46 on Ernie walls, and I started realizing I prefer the feels of sling keys. You know, I didn't really notice strings, but on this guitar, it's made a difference to me. So I have this on 10 to 46 Ernie wall sling keys. Not a very low action, normal action. I don't play very low action anyway, and this guitar is playing perfect for me now. I still will use this as my number one because some of my other guitars are a bit more precious to gig with. I mean, I gig with all the guitars, I play all of them, but you know, I feel confident. This guitar already has not really bad marks, but let's just say that, you know, it's a beautiful guitar, but it's been around. There are small pieces, nothing you can even see on the camera, but I know there are small pieces here and there which tell me that this guitar has been played, and even the neck has started feeling a little less gloss. I like gloss necks, don't get me wrong, but it's starting to feel very played in. So this guitar will continue. It has an emotional value. The only thing I want to change about it is I want a bloody tremolo. So over the years since I started playing PRSs, and you'll see that in the remaining parts of my journey, I've started loving the PRS tremolo. I wish this had it. So, you know, my only option is to send it to PTC and get it done, but I live in a different part of the world, so that's entirely not feasible. Then I thought of an innovative solution, which I've done on my Les Pauls. I thought of putting a Les Trem from Duesenberg, which fits right on top of the Tubematic bridge. That's when I found out that the width of a PRS bridge is different from the width of a Gibson bridge. Very different, so that Duesenberg doesn't fit on it. So yeah, for now I don't have a solution, but maybe someday in the future, only I will, you know, if I am in the US or whatever opportunity presents itself, I will get a trem put on it by PTC. Otherwise the guitar will stay as it is. And yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful guitar. That's pretty much all about this guitar. So after I got this guitar, I was pretty satisfied, and I did buy another PRS, or in fact I stopped buying guitars altogether for a relatively long period of 8 months, and then another special guitar came along, and that changed everything, and now I have a lot more PRSs. So we'll talk a little bit about that in the next video. Till next time.